Welcome to Portugal, a nation where the golden light of the Atlantic meets centuries of history, where tiled streets echo with the sounds of fado, and where everyday life flows with both calm tradition and modern vibrancy. In 2025, Portugal is more than just a postcard of beaches and castles. It is a living story of resilience, beauty, and cultural pride. When people think of Portugal, they imagine Lisbon's yellow trams climbing steep hills, Porto's riverside charm, the Algarve's golden cliffs, and the rolling vineyards of the Douro Valley. But what truly defines life here? Is it the rhythm of fado, the taste of bacalhau, or the spirit of discovery that once sent Portuguese sailors across uncharted seas? Or is it the warm hospitality of a people who treasure both their heritage and their future? In this documentary, we'll uncover Portugal in its full richness. We'll walk through Lisbon, the capital where past and present blend seamlessly. We'll explore Porto, the Algarve, and the Douro Valley, each offering a different face of the country's identity. We'll taste Portugal's world-famous cuisine and wines, and experience its traditions and festivals. We'll visit landmarks that tell of explorers, kings, and poets, and we'll immerse ourselves in Portugal's natural beauty, from stunning beaches to volcanic islands. More importantly, we'll discover how people live in Portugal today. What does daily life look like in 2025, from cost of living to family traditions? How do locals balance modern opportunities with the weight of history? This is Portugal, as it truly is. Passionate, proud, and endlessly captivating. Not just a destination, but a way of life. This is Life in Portugal 2025. Lisbon, Portugal's sun-drenched capital, is a city where tradition and modern living intertwine on every street corner. Home to over 500,000 residents in the city proper, and more than 2.8 million in the metropolitan area, Lisbon feels both intimate and cosmopolitan, ancient yet forward-looking. To wander through its hilly streets is to walk through layers of history, culture, and daily life that define modern Portugal. Lisbon is famously known as the City of Seven Hills, and its geography shapes the rhythm of daily life. The city's steep slopes lead to breathtaking miradouros, viewpoints, where locals and visitors alike pause to admire red-tiled rooftops, the Tagus River, and the distant Atlantic horizon. The quality of light here, golden, almost glowing, has inspired painters, poets, and filmmakers for centuries. The cityscape is a blend of old and new. Historic districts like Alfama and Moraria are a labyrinth of narrow streets, tiled facades, and hidden courtyards. Here, laundry flutters from balconies, and the soulful strains of fado spill out of small taverns. In contrast, Parque das Nações, a redeveloped waterfront district, boasts modern architecture, sleek offices, and cultural venues that showcase Lisbon's place as a hub of innovation in 2025. Life in Lisbon begins slowly. Mornings often start with a bica, Portuguese espresso, at a local cafe, paired with a warm pastel de nata, the iconic custard tart. Cafes are everywhere. Small neighborhood spots where baristas know customers by name, and larger pastelerias that bustle with energy. Workdays usually start around 9 a.m., but the pace is more relaxed than in many European capitals. Lunch is a serious affair, often lasting an hour or more, with co-workers heading to traditional restaurants for grilled fish, stews, or hearty soups. In smaller shops and family businesses, a midday break is still common. Evenings are when Lisbon comes alive. Families gather at home or meet friends in local taverns. Dinner rarely begins before 8 p.m., and it can stretch late into the night, especially on weekends. Strolling the bikes, downtown areas, or enjoying a drink along the riverfront is part of Lisbon's relaxed rhythm of life. Lisbon is a city of neighborhoods, each with its own distinct identity. The oldest district, where Moorish influences linger in twisting alleys and whitewashed houses. It's the birthplace of fado, where tradition is woven into every stone. elegant boulevards, shops, and theaters that represent Lisbon's 18th and 19th century rebirth after the devastating 1755 earthquake. Today it is a lively area of commerce and culture. The bohemian heart of the city, known for its bars, clubs, and youthful nightlife that spills into the streets until dawn. A district rich in history, home to the iconic Belém Tower and Jerónimos Monastery, symbols of Portugal's Age of Discoveries. Modern Lisbon, built for Expo 98 with futuristic architecture, office towers, and family-friendly parks. These neighborhoods together create a mosaic of past and present, each one reflecting a chapter in Lisbon's story. Lisbon breathes with music. The most iconic is fado, Portugal's soulful genre of song, often described as the voice of longing, saudade. In Alfama and Moraria, small restaurants and taverns host nightly performances where singers, accompanied by the Portuguese guitar, pour raw emotion into every note. To experience fado is to glimpse the Portuguese soul, sorrowful, beautiful, and deeply human. But Lisbon is not frozen in nostalgia. Street performers, indie bands, and electronic DJs fill the city with a modern soundtrack. Music festivals, art exhibitions, and theater productions reflect a creative city that values both heritage and innovation. Lisbon's cultural treasures are everywhere. The Jerónimos Monastery, a masterpiece of Manueline architecture, stands as a symbol of Portugal's maritime glory. The Belém Tower, once guarding the entrance to the Tagus, now greets millions of visitors every year. The Lisbon Cathedral, with its Romanesque towers, has witnessed centuries of history, from crusaders to earthquakes. Modern museums add to this richness. The MAT, Museum of Art, Architecture, and Technology, showcases contemporary creativity, while the Calouste Gulbenkian Museum houses a world-class collection of art spanning from Egyptian relics to modern works. Lisbon's food culture is inseparable from daily life. Fresh seafood dominates menus. Grilled sardines, octopus salad, and codfish, bacalhau, prepared in hundreds of ways. Locals gather for petiscos, Portuguese tapas, paired with vinho verde or local beers. On weekends, markets like Mercado da Ribeira overflow with fresh produce, cheeses, cured meats, and pastries, embodying the communal love of food. Street kiosks selling ginginha, a cherry liqueur, are part of Lisbon's charm. Tourists sip for novelty, but for locals, it remains a symbol of tradition and community. In 2025, Lisbon is not just a historic capital, but a forward-looking European hub. Digital startups thrive alongside centuries-old businesses. Tourists still pack trams and viewpoints, but Lisbon's younger generation is also shaping the city with technology, design, and global connections. Housing costs and tourism have brought challenges, with debates about affordability and preservation. Yet, Lisbon remains deeply Portuguese at its core, family-oriented, tradition-rich, and warm to strangers. What defines life in Lisbon is not just its architecture or landmarks, but its people. Lisboetas are known for their friendliness, resilience, and pride in their heritage. They move at a rhythm that balances work and leisure, savoring coffee breaks, evening strolls, and conversations that stretch long into the night. Lisbon in 2025 is a city of continuity and change, where tiled streets tell stories of the past, where modern life thrives along the river, and where everyday life is a celebration of beauty, resilience, and tradition. While Lisbon sets the rhythm of modern Portugal, the true essence of the nation emerges when you journey beyond the capital. From the soulful charm of Porto to the golden coasts of the Algarve and the terraced vineyards of the Douro Valley, each region offers its own unique face of Portuguese life. Together, they reveal a country that is as diverse as it is united, where regional pride strengthens the national identity. If Lisbon is bright and cosmopolitan, Porto feels intimate and soulful. Located on the banks of the Douro River, Portugal's second-largest city has long been the nation's industrious heart. Its history is etched into its granite architecture and narrow alleys, where tradition thrives amid modern innovation. The Ribeira district, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is Porto's beating heart. Colorful houses tumble down to the riverbank, their facades decorated with traditional azulejos, blue and white tiles. Cafes and wine bars line the promenade, offering views of the iconic Dom Luís I Bridge, a masterpiece of 19th century engineering. Crossing this bridge brings you to Vila Nova de Gaia, home to the world-famous port wine cellars. Here, barrels of ruby, tawny, and vintage port have aged for centuries, continuing a tradition that has made Portugal globally renowned. Daily life in Porto is slower than in Lisbon. Locals gather in traditional cafes for strong coffee and pastries, while markets brim with fresh fish, cured meats, and local cheeses. The city's culinary pride includes francesinha, a hearty sandwich layered with meats, cheese, and beer-based sauce, a dish that embodies Porto's bold flavors. Yet Porto is also modern. Its art scene thrives in places like the Casa de Música, a striking contemporary concert hall, and the Serralves Foundation, which blends a world-class modern art museum with lush gardens. Startups, creative hubs, and universities bring youthful energy, ensuring Porto balances heritage with innovation. In the far south lies the Algarve, Portugal's sun-soaked playground. With over 300 days of sunshine each year, it has become a magnet for both tourists and locals seeking sea, sand, and serenity. Yet the Algarve is more than a beach destination. It is a region of fishing traditions, small whitewashed villages, and dramatic natural beauty. The coast is its crown jewel. Golden cliffs rise above turquoise waters, creating postcard-perfect coves like Praia da Marinha and Benagil Cave. Surfing thrives on the western beaches, where Atlantic waves draw riders from around the globe. Inland, orange groves and almond orchards perfume the air, while traditional markets bustle with handmade crafts and fresh produce. Fishing villages such as Lagos, Tavira, and Albufeira retain their charm, blending cobblestone streets with lively harbors. Locals celebrate the sea with festivals dedicated to sardines and seafood, and many families still rely on fishing as a way of life. The Algarve is also home to expatriates and retirees from across Europe, who are drawn by the warm climate, friendly communities, and affordable lifestyle. Tourism has transformed the Algarve, yet traditions endure. In 2025, efforts to balance development with sustainability are shaping the region's future. Eco-resorts, nature trails, and marine conservation programs ensure that the Algarve's natural beauty remains preserved while welcoming millions of visitors each year. Few landscapes in the world rival the beauty of the Douro Valley. Carved by the winding Douro River, this UNESCO World Heritage Site is a tapestry of terraced vineyards that climb steep hillsides, their patterns unchanged for centuries. The valley is the birthplace of port wine, but it also produces world-class reds and whites that embody the richness of Portuguese terroir. Life in the Douro moves at a gentle pace. Farmers tend to vineyards, while riverboats glide along calm waters, recalling the days when barrels of wine were shipped downstream to Porto. Visitors today can tour wine estates, known as quintas, where they sample vintages paired with local cheeses, olives, and cured meats. These experiences are not just tastings, but lessons in heritage, as winemakers share stories passed down through generations. The Douro Valley is also a feast for the senses. In spring, the hills bloom with almond blossoms. In summer, the air fills with the buzz of harvest preparations. Autumn paints the vineyards in gold and crimson, while winter brings a tranquil beauty of mist-covered hills. For locals, the land is not simply a workplace, but a sacred inheritance, a connection to ancestors who cultivated these slopes for centuries. Beyond wine, the Douro Valley offers cultural treasures. Hilltop villages like Pinhão and Paço da Régua showcase traditional architecture, while Roman roads and medieval monasteries remind visitors of the region's long history. Festivals celebrate harvest with music, dancing, and shared meals, embodying the communal spirit that defines rural Portugal. What unites Porto, the Algarve, and the Douro Valley is their sense of regional pride. Each region fiercely preserves its traditions. From Porto's wine cellars to the Algarve's fishing festivals, from Douro's harvest rituals to Lisbon's fado. This diversity enriches the national identity, giving Portugal a cultural depth far greater than its small geographic size might suggest. In 2025, regional diversity also fuels tourism and economic growth. Porto's creative energy attracts entrepreneurs. The Algarve remains a global beach destination, and the Douro Valley draws wine lovers from every continent. Together, they form the backbone of Portugal's international reputation, a country that is small in scale, but vast in experience. To travel through these regions is to see Portugal's contrasts harmonize. Porto's soulful north, the Algarve's sunny south, and the Douro's timeless heartland each tell a part of the national story. For locals, these places are not just destinations but homes, landscapes where family, work, and tradition intertwine. For visitors, they are invitations to slow down, savor, and immerse in a culture that values both heritage and hospitality. Whether sipping wine on a Douro terrace, watching the sun set over Algarve cliffs, or walking Porto's riverside streets, one feels Portugal's essence, beauty rooted in history, enriched by tradition, and alive with modern spirit. In Portugal, food is more than nourishment. It is a celebration of heritage, community, and life itself. From rustic home kitchens to bustling taverns and elegant restaurants, Portuguese cuisine reflects centuries of seafaring exploration, Mediterranean influences, and a deep respect for local ingredients. To share a meal in Portugal is to experience not just flavor, but history and tradition passed down through generations. No dish symbolizes Portugal more than bacalhau, or salted codfish. Famously, there are said to be over 1,000 recipes for bacalhau, and nearly every Portuguese family has its favorite version. From bacalhau à brás, shredded cod with eggs and potatoes, to bacalhau com natas, cod baked in cream, the dish appears on holiday tables, weeknight dinners, and festive gatherings alike. Its enduring presence tells the story of Portugal's maritime history, when salted cod was brought back from long fishing voyages and became a staple. Beyond bacalhau, Portugal's cuisine is a mosaic of fresh, flavorful dishes. A beloved green soup made with kale and potatoes and chorizo sausage, often served at family celebrations and festivals. A summer staple, especially during Lisbon's Santo Antonio festival, when entire neighborhoods fill with the smell of sardines roasting on open grills. Portuguese small plates, similar to Spanish tapas, including octopus salad, cod fritters, and spicy sausage. These dishes encourage sharing and conversation, reflecting Portugal's communal spirit. The world-famous custard tarts, crisp and caramelized on the outside, creamy inside. Originating from Lisbon's Belém district, they are now symbols of Portuguese indulgence, enjoyed with coffee at any time of day. Café culture is central to Portuguese life. A bica, espresso, is more than caffeine. It is a pause, a ritual, and often a social moment. People meet friends, discuss politics, or simply watch the world go by from sidewalk tables. Coffee is almost always paired with pastries, from bolo de arroz, rice flour cake, to tarte de amendoa, almond tart. Each cafe offering its own specialties. Portugal's wines are celebrated worldwide, yet they remain deeply tied to local life. Produced in the Douro Valley, this fortified wine is rich, sweet, and symbolic of Portuguese craftsmanship. Families in Porto have built their identities around its production for centuries. Literally, green wine, light and slightly sparkling. Perfect for summer afternoons and seafood pairings. Produced in the north, it represents Portugal's freshness and vibrancy. From the volcanic island of Madeira, this fortified wine is known for its unique aging process, where heat and time create complex flavors. Historically, it was prized by explorers and even used to toast the signing of the U.S. Declaration of Independence. Wine is not reserved for special occasions. It flows through daily life, from family lunches to casual dinners, embodying Portugal's hospitality. Portugal's traditions are inseparable from its food and drink. Festivals across the country showcase a unique blend of religious devotion and communal joy. Held every June, this celebration transforms Lisbon's neighborhoods into street parties, with grilled sardines, dancing, and parades. One of Portugal's liveliest festivals, featuring fireworks, music, and the quirky tradition of tapping people on the head with plastic hammers. Across wine regions like the Douro, communities gather to harvest grapes, often stomping them barefoot in centuries-old rituals that mix labor with celebration. These events bring entire communities together, blending music, dance, and feasting in a way that connects the past to the present. Though music, not food, Fado is deeply tied to Portugal's traditions. Born in Lisbon's taverns, Fado expresses saudade, the uniquely Portuguese feeling of longing, nostalgia, and bittersweet beauty. Traditionally sung in small venues with only a Portuguese guitar for accompaniment, Fado creates an atmosphere of intimacy and emotion. In 2011, UNESCO recognized it as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity, cementing its place as a cultural treasure. Today, Fado houses in Lisbon and Coimbra continue to carry this tradition forward, drawing both locals and travelers into its haunting embrace. Portugal remains deeply influenced by Catholic traditions. Christmas and Easter are celebrated with solemn rituals and festive meals, while Saints' Days bring processions through city streets. Many families maintain customs tied to local patron saints, blending faith with festivity. Family itself is the cornerstone of Portuguese society. Sundays often mean family lunches, with grandparents, parents, and children gathered around tables laden with food. Meals are long, filled with conversation, laughter, and storytelling. Hospitality extends beyond family. Visitors are often welcomed as though they were old friends, offered food, wine, and warmth without hesitation. Portugal has a sweet tooth, and desserts are an art form here. Queijadas, cheese tarts, travesseiros, almond and egg pastries, and regional specialties like bolo de mel, honey cake from Madeira, showcase the creativity of Portuguese baking. Many of these sweets trace back to convents, where nuns historically used egg yolks for pastries and egg whites for starching habits, creating a legacy of rich, sugary treats that still define Portuguese desserts today. What makes Portuguese cuisine and tradition so powerful is their role as anchors of identity. Every dish, drink, and festival tells a story of sailors who brought spices home from India, of farmers who cultivated vineyards on impossible slopes, of families who have preserved recipes for centuries. In 2025, even as Portugal embraces digital innovation and global trends, these traditions remain alive, woven into daily life. Food here is not just about taste. It is about connection to family, to land, to history. To eat in Portugal is to join in a ritual of belonging, to share in a national pride that is as flavorful as it is enduring. Portugal is a country where history is not confined to museums. It breathes through its streets, palaces, and monuments, centuries of maritime exploration. artistic achievement, and cultural resilience have left behind landmarks that continue to inspire pride among the Portuguese. From medieval castles to ornate monasteries, from tiled facades to modern museums, these sites embody the story of a nation that once shaped the world. At the heart of Lisbon's identity are landmarks that symbolize Portugal's golden age of discovery. Rising on the banks of the Tagus River, this 16th century fortress was once a ceremonial gateway to Lisbon and a defensive stronghold. Its intricate Manueline architecture, decorated with maritime motifs and carvings of ropes and crosses, celebrates Portugal's seafaring legacy. Just steps from the tower, this masterpiece of limestone architecture is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of Portugal's proudest symbols. Built during the Age of Discoveries, it commemorates Vasco da Gama's voyage to India. Inside lies the explorer's tomb, alongside poets like Luís de Camões, anchoring Portugal's twin legacies of exploration and literature. Dating back to the 12th century, this Romanesque cathedral has survived earthquakes and wars, standing as a testament to Lisbon's resilience. Its mix of Gothic and Baroque additions reflects the layers of history that have shaped the city. Once the royal palace site, this grand riverside square embodies Portugal's political and economic heart. Today, it is a space of cultural gatherings, festivals, and civic pride. These landmarks are not relics but living spaces, where locals and tourists alike celebrate Portugal's past and present. In the north, Porto's landmarks reveal a different story, one of industrious pride, spiritual devotion, and artistic craftsmanship. Designed by a disciple of Gustave Eiffel, this double-deck iron bridge spans the Douro River, connecting Porto with Vila Nova de Gaia. It is not just a feat of engineering, but a daily lifeline, linking two communities across the water. This Baroque bell tower rises above Porto's skyline, offering sweeping views of the city. For centuries, it has stood as a symbol of Porto's endurance and faith. More than a transport hub, this station is an art gallery. Its walls are covered with 20,000 azulejo tiles depicting scenes of Portugal's history, from medieval battles to rural traditions, turning a daily commute into a cultural experience. From the ornate Church of São Francisco, with its gilded interiors, to the blue-tiled facades of the Chapel of Souls, Porto's churches embody Portugal's fusion of faith and art. These landmarks remind Porto's residents of their city's role not only as a center of commerce and wine, but also as a cultural stronghold. Just outside Lisbon lies Sintra, a town that feels like a fairy tale come to life. Its palaces and castles have long inspired poets and travelers. Perched atop a hill, this colorful 19th century palace blends Gothic, Renaissance, and Moorish styles in a romantic mix. Surrounded by lush gardens, it reflects Portugal's fascination with imagination and artistry. Built by the Moors in the 8th century, its ruined walls still snake across the hills, offering panoramic views. It stands as a reminder of Portugal's diverse cultural past, a mansion filled with mystical symbolism, underground tunnels, and an iconic initiation well. This site embodies Portugal's fascination with myth, philosophy, and secret societies. Sintra's blend of history and fantasy makes it one of Portugal's most beloved cultural treasures. Perhaps no cultural element is as instantly recognizable as the azulejos, Portugal's painted ceramic tiles. Found on churches, train stations, houses, and palaces, these blue and white designs tell stories of saints, battles, seafaring adventures, and everyday life. Introduced by the Moors and perfected over centuries, azulejos became a national art form. Even today, contemporary artists use tiles to reflect modern themes, proving that this tradition remains alive. Walking through Lisbon or Porto, one is constantly reminded of Portugal's pride in these artistic details. Every tile is both decoration and history, a a reminder of resilience, beauty, and creativity. Portugal's history is inseparable from the sea. During the 15th and 16th centuries, Portuguese explorers ventured beyond Europe, mapping coastlines, opening trade routes, and shaping global history. Figures like Vasco da Gama, Ferdinand Magellan, and Prince Henry the Navigator remain central to the nation's identity. This maritime pride is preserved in museums such as the Maritime Museum in Belém, where ship models, maps, and artifacts showcase Portugal's pioneering spirit. Yet the legacy is not just historical, it continues to inspire modern Portugal, reminding its people of their capacity to innovate and explore. In 2025, Portugal's historic landmarks are not just tourist attractions, but anchors of identity. Locals take pride in their preservation, ensuring these sites remain intact for future generations. Restoration projects, cultural festivals, and educational programs keep history alive, while tourism brings global recognition. The Portuguese concept of saudade, a deep sense of longing and nostalgia, is tied to these landmarks. They are not just stones and walls, but emotional spaces, connecting modern lives to centuries of heritage. What makes Portugal's landmarks special is that they are still lived in, walked through, and celebrated. People still gather in Praça do Comércio for festivals, climb Clérigo's Tower for views, and attend fado performances in Alfama's historic taverns. Weddings, protests, and concerts take place in the same squares that once hosted royal ceremonies and political upheavals. Portugal's landmarks are not silent witnesses. They are part of everyday life. And this fusion of history with the present gives the Portuguese people a profound sense of pride. Pride in having endured earthquakes, wars, and struggles while preserving beauty, culture, and identity. Portugal may be a small country on Europe's western edge, but its landscapes are astonishingly diverse. From golden beaches kissed by the Atlantic to the rolling vineyards of the Douro, from volcanic islands rising out of the ocean to the vast open plains of the Alentejo, Portugal offers natural beauty that feels limitless. For the Portuguese, these landscapes are not just scenic backdrops. They are part of daily life, shaping culture, traditions, and identity. The Algarve in Portugal's south is world famous for its spectacular coastline. Here, limestone cliffs plunge into turquoise waters, forming dramatic caves, hidden coves, and sandy beaches. Often ranked among the world's most beautiful beaches, with golden cliffs, arches, and crystal clear water, a natural sea grotto where sunlight streams through an open dome, creating a magical effect. Reached by boat or kayak, it is one of Portugal's most iconic natural wonders, surfing paradise, where Atlantic waves crash against wild beaches like Arifana and Amado. For locals, the Algarve is more than a tourist destination. Fishing villages, with their whitewashed houses and bustling harbors, still depend on the sea. Summer festivals celebrate sardines and seafood, keeping traditions alive even amid tourism. In 2025 sustainability efforts focus on protecting marine life and balancing development with conservation, ensuring the Algarve's coast remains pristine. North of the Algarve, Portugal's Atlantic coast stretches for hundreds of kilometers. Just outside Lisbon, Cascais and Estoril are seaside towns, blending luxury resorts with fishing traditions. Further north, Nazaré has gained global fame as the capital of big wave surfing. Waves here can reach more than 30 meters, attracting surfers from around the world and thrilling spectators who gather on the cliffs. Closer to Porto, beaches like Matosinhos combine urban energy with seaside relaxation. Freshly grilled sardines are served at beachside restaurants, embodying the Portuguese love of simple pleasures by the sea. For families, summer weekends mean trips to the coast, where the rhythm of waves is as familiar as the smell of grilled fish. Inland, the Alentejo region offers a starkly different kind of beauty. Rolling plains stretch endlessly, dotted with cork oak trees and whitewashed villages. The landscape feels timeless, where life moves at a slower pace. Here, agriculture shapes daily existence. Vineyards, olive groves, and wheat fields dominate the countryside, producing some of Portugal's finest wines and olive oils. Towns like Évora, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, reflect the region's deep history with Roman temples, medieval cathedrals, and winding streets. In summer, the Alentejo bakes under golden sunlight, while autumn brings harvest festivals. For many, the Alentejo represents the heart of traditional Portugal, quiet, grounded, and proud of its heritage. The Douro Valley, already celebrated for its wine, is also a landscape of staggering natural beauty. Terraced vineyards cling to steep hillsides. Following the river's winding path, boat rides along the Douro reveal a world of contrasts: tranquil villages, Baroque churches, and endless vineyards cascading into the water. In autumn, the valley glows with shades of red and gold, making it one of Europe's most stunning seasonal spectacles. For locals, the Douro is more than scenery. It is a way of life, where generations of families have cultivated vines and celebrated harvests with music and feasting. Portugal's northern regions, particularly Minho and Trás-os-Montes, are lush and green, shaped by rivers and mountains. Portugal's only national park, home to granite peaks, waterfalls, and wild horses. Villages within the park preserve ancient traditions, with stone houses, communal ovens, and seasonal festivals. Rolling hills covered in vineyards, producing the light, slightly sparkling wine beloved across Portugal. This northern landscape reflects Portugal's agricultural roots and cultural resilience, where rural life remains strong even in the 21st century. Portugal's natural wonders extend far into the Atlantic, to the islands of Madeira and the Azores. Known as the Island of Eternal Spring, Madeira is a paradise of volcanic peaks, terraced gardens, and dramatic coastlines. Its capital, Funchal, blends history with modern tourism, while inland levadas, irrigation channels, guide hikers through lush forests and waterfalls. Madeira's fortified wine is a global treasure, tying the island's identity to Portuguese heritage. A 9-island archipelago, the Azores are one of Europe's last untouched natural frontiers. Crater lakes, geothermal springs, and volcanic peaks define the landscape. São Miguel's Sete Cidades, twin lakes inside a volcanic crater, is among the most photographed natural sites in Portugal. Whale watching, hiking, and ecotourism thrive here, making the Azores a model of sustainable travel in 2025. Both island groups embody Portugal's seafaring spirit, extending the nation's reach far beyond the European mainland. For the Portuguese, nature is not distant. It is part of everyday life. Families spend weekends at the beach, students surf before classes, and retirees walk coastal trails. Hiking in the Serra da Estrela Mountains, cycling through Alentejo Plains, or sailing along the Tagus are not luxuries, but traditions of a country deeply tied to its land and sea. In 2025, this outdoor lifestyle also reflects Portugal's global reputation as one of Europe's healthiest and most balanced nations. The Mediterranean diet, fresh air, and active habits contribute to longevity and well-being, making Portugal not just beautiful, but livable. What unites Portugal's diverse landscapes is the way they shape identity. The Algarve's sun, the Alentejo's silence, the Douro's rivers, the Azores' volcanoes, all feed into the Portuguese sense of who they are: resilient, grounded, and proud of their land. For visitors, these landscapes are unforgettable experiences. For locals, they are home, places of memory, tradition, and daily joy. Together, they form a natural heritage that, like Portugal's culture, is both timeless and ever-changing. To understand Portugal in 2025, one must look beyond its monuments and beaches to the rhythms of everyday life, how people live, what they earn and spend, and how they preserve traditions while adapting to modern demands, all paint a fuller picture of the nation. Portugal today is a blend of old-world charm and 21st century opportunity, a country that balances simplicity with sophistication. For most Portuguese, mornings begin with a bica, espresso, at a cafe, often paired with a pastry like a pastel de nata or croissant. Breakfast is light while lunch is the main meal of the day, usually between 1 and 2 p.m. Many businesses allow for longer lunch breaks, and in smaller towns, shops may still close for a couple of hours in the afternoon. Evenings are social and family-oriented. Dinner rarely happens before 8 p.m. and often lasts late into the night. On weekends, friends gather at restaurants or along riverfront promenades, while families fill beaches, parks, and plazas. This slower pace of life, especially compared to Northern Europe, is part of Portugal's charm. Work is important, but life is meant to be savored. Family remains the cornerstone of Portuguese society. Multi-generational households are common, and grandparents play an essential role in raising children. Sundays often mean family lunches, where 3 or 4 generations gather around the table to share food and stories. Respect for elders is deeply rooted, and family events are central to social life. Community life extends beyond family. Neighborhood cafes, markets, and festivals bring people together. Even in Lisbon and Porto, modern cities with global influence, locals maintain strong ties to their neighborhoods, where shopkeepers know their customers and neighbors share daily greetings. This sense of belonging gives Portuguese society a warmth that captivates outsiders. Portugal's economy in 2025 reflects both challenges and opportunities. Lisbon has become a hub for startups and digital nomads, with co-working spaces and international conferences energizing the city. Porto has also embraced innovation while preserving its traditional industries, such as wine and textiles. Education is highly valued. Portugal's universities, including the University of Coimbra, one of the oldest in Europe, continue to attract students. At the same time, younger generations are drawn to technology, creative arts, and global industries. Many young Portuguese speak multiple languages, reflecting the country's openness to international exchange. Portugal remains one of Western Europe's more affordable countries, though costs vary between regions. Lisbon has seen rising rents due to tourism and foreign investment. Porto is more affordable, but climbing quickly. Smaller towns and rural areas remain much cheaper. Expats and digital nomads often find Portugal affordable compared to their home countries, but locals sometimes struggle with salaries that lag behind costs. Eating out is relatively inexpensive compared to most of Europe. A meal at a neighborhood taverna can cost far less than in Paris or London, while groceries at local markets are affordable and fresh. Portuguese markets, overflowing with produce, seafood, bread, and cheese, are cultural experiences as much as economic choices. Public transportation in cities is efficient and affordable, with trams, metros, and buses widely used. Trains connect major cities, while budget airlines make international travel accessible. Owning a car is more common outside big cities, though fuel and tolls can be costly. Portugal has a strong public healthcare system, funded through taxes, which provides affordable care for residents. Many also choose private healthcare for faster access, though costs remain significantly lower than in the US or UK. In 2025, Portugal has cemented its place as one of the world's most popular destinations for digital nomads. Cities like Lisbon and Porto, and even smaller coastal towns, attract thousands of remote workers from Europe, North America, and beyond. Government initiatives, including digital nomad visas, have encouraged this influx, boosting local economies. For foreigners, Portugal offers an attractive package. safety, mild climate, beautiful surroundings, affordable lifestyle, and welcoming communities. Yet for locals, this boom has created both opportunities and challenges. While it has spurred economic growth, it has also pushed up housing prices, leading to debates about sustainability and fairness. Portugal's greatest strength lies in its ability to balance the old and the new. Smartphones and social media are ubiquitous, yet people still gather in town squares for festivals. Digital businesses thrive, but fishing villages still follow rhythms unchanged for centuries. Families adopt modern lifestyles while holding fast to traditions like saints' festivals, fado nights, and long Sunday lunches. The Portuguese word saudade, that mix of longing, nostalgia, and hope, reflects this balance. It is a cultural identity that honors the past while looking to the future. International rankings often list Portugal among the countries with the highest quality of life, and it is easy to see why. The Mediterranean diet, outdoor lifestyle, mild climate, and strong community bonds contribute to well-being and longevity. Crime rates are low, healthcare is accessible, and public spaces are safe and lively. For locals, challenges remain. Wages are modest, economic inequality persists, and younger generations sometimes leave for higher-paying jobs abroad. Yet the resilience and optimism of the Portuguese people shine through. They value connection, family, and enjoyment of life more than material wealth, a mindset that resonates with visitors who often fall in love with the country. In 2025, Portugal's lifestyle is one of balance. It is a place where you can enjoy the calm of a seaside village or the buzz of a modern city, where you can live affordably yet richly in experience. It is where traditions are cherished, but innovation is embraced, and where the rhythms of daily life feel slower, warmer, and more human. This lifestyle explains why Portugal has become one of Europe's most admired countries. It offers not just beauty and history, but a way of living that many aspire to. One grounded in family, community, and the simple joy of being. As our journey across Portugal comes to a close, one truth becomes clear. This small nation exerts an influence and allure far greater than its size. Portugal inspires passion worldwide not through power or wealth, but through beauty, tradition, resilience, and a way of life that touches the soul. Portugal's legacy is written in the seas it once sailed. From the 15th and 16th centuries, Portuguese explorers carried their ships across uncharted waters, opening routes to Africa, Asia, and the Americas. Figures like Vasco da Gama, Ferdinand Magellan, and Prince Henry the Navigator shaped not only Portugal, but the modern world itself. This history is still alive today in Lisbon's Belém Tower, in Porto's tiled walls, and in the maritime pride of coastal towns. For the Portuguese, these landmarks are not just monuments, but reminders of their ancestors' courage and ambition. For the world, they symbolize curiosity, discovery, and humanity's eternal drive to explore. Portugal's landscapes are a second reason for its global appeal. The golden cliffs of the Algarve, the terraced vineyards of the Douro Valley, the endless plains of the Alentejo, and the volcanic beauty of Madeira and the Azores. Together, they form a geography of wonder. These are not mere tourist attractions, but living environments that define the people who inhabit them. The Portuguese walk coastal trails, surf Atlantic waves, and celebrate harvests under the same skies that drew poets and painters for centuries. In a fast-paced world, Portugal's connection to land and sea offers a vision of balance and belonging. Portugal captivates because of its culture, one that blends simplicity with depth. The soulful strains of fado carry saudade, that uniquely Portuguese emotion of longing and beauty. Azulejo tiles tell stories in blue and white across facades and churches. Festivals turn streets into theaters of food, music, and dance, where communities celebrate together. Cuisine plays its own part in this allure. From bacalhau, cooked 100 ways, to pastel de nata, savored with coffee. From vinho verde, poured in summer, to port aged in oak cellars, Portuguese food and drink embody history, craft, and joy. To eat here is to share in a centuries-old ritual of connection. In 2025, Portugal is not only a guardian of history, but a participant in the modern world. Lisbon and Porto have become hubs of technology, startups, and digital creativity. The influx of digital nomads and expats reflects the nation's openness and adaptability. Yet, even as Portugal modernizes, it holds fast to traditions. Sunday family lunches, saints' festivals, and music echoing through cobblestone streets. This balance, between heritage and innovation, between memory and progress, makes Portugal unique. It shows the world that modernization does not require losing one's soul. Perhaps the most powerful reason Portugal captivates is its people. Portuguese hospitality is legendary, not rooted in formality, but in genuine warmth. Strangers are welcomed like friends, and visitors are often invited into homes, offered food and wine, and treated with care. This spirit is woven into daily life. Families gather around long tables, neighbors greet each other in cafes, and communities rally around festivals and traditions. For travelers, this openness feels transformative. It is not just tourism, it is belonging. Portugal has faced challenges, economic struggles, waves of emigration, and the demands of global competition. Yet it has always responded with resilience. The Portuguese know how to endure, adapt, and dream. Their philosophy of saudade, a longing that is both sadness and hope, reflects this resilience, turning hardship into art, music, and poetry. This ability to transform difficulty into beauty resonates deeply with the world. Portugal teaches us that even small nations can inspire through spirit, not size. Today, Portugal draws millions of visitors each year, not only for its beaches or monuments, but for the feeling it evokes. It is a destination where travelers slow down, reconnect with nature, and rediscover the joy of community. Digital nomads come for opportunity, but stay for the lifestyle. Retirees settle here not just for affordability, but for warmth and quality of life. Students, entrepreneurs, and artists find inspiration in Portugal's blend of tradition and creativity. The world admires Portugal because it offers something increasingly rare: authenticity. In a global age of speed and change, Portugal reminds us of the value of slowing down, savoring meals, celebrating traditions, and cherishing connections. Portugal captivates not just because of what it has, but because of what it offers. An invitation to live differently, to drink coffee slowly, to listen to music that aches with beauty, to walk through tiled streets that carry centuries of stories, to feel both nostalgia and hope in the same moment. This is Portugal's gift to the world, a reminder that life is richer when lived with balance, community, and passion. In 2025, Portugal stands as one of Europe's brightest stars, small yet vast in culture, modest yet rich in soul. Rooted in history yet alive with modern promise, it is a land of explorers, poets, and dreamers, and it continues to inspire passion across the globe. Portugal captivates because it is more than a destination. It is a feeling, a rhythm, a way of life. And once you experience it, a part of it stays with you forever. This is why, in 2025 and beyond, Portugal remains one of the world's most enchanting nations.